Now, if you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it, because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another. I mean, maybe I have the same people, but it isn't going to do anything. The apartments are going to produce rental, and the farms are going to produce food. If I've got all the Bitcoin, I'm back where whatever his name was, who may or may not have existed, was. If I've got it all, he could create a mystery about it. But everybody knows what I'm like. I mean, so if I'm trying to get rid of it, people will say, well, why should I buy some Bitcoin from you? I mean, why don't you call it Buffett coin? Make your own or something. What? Do something. But I'm not going to give you anything for it. And you'd be right, incidentally. But that explains the difference between productive assets and something that depends on the next guy paying you more than the last guy got.
That was legendary investor Warren Buffett when asked whether he would invest in Bitcoin in April of 2022. During that month, the Bitcoin price oscillated between $45,530 and $38,470, and it is now in early September around $20,145. Plenty of volatility for the poster child of a new asset class, cryptocurrencies, which aims to revolutionize the monetary system. After hitting an all-time peak of $69,000 per unit in November of 2021, the world's leading digital currency has since erased about 70% of its value. Those investors who feared a few months ago that they may have missed the opportunity of a lifetime are now sighing with relief. Meanwhile, those who bought in at the peak are trying not to think about their huge losses. The optimism that surrounded the crypto asset for the last few years has all but disappeared. Recently, the CEO of one of the most well-known crypto exchanges, Coinbase, warned that anything could happen as the company grapples with a $2 trillion crypto winter and an economic slowdown. Just to contextualize this number further, $2 trillion is close to Italy's GDP, the world's 9th largest economy. So, are we witnessing the beginning of the end of Bitcoin and crypto assets more broadly? Hedge fund manager Dalio is more optimistic than some heavyweight names on the prospects for the cryptocurrency, despite its massive losses so far. Dalio speaks of Bitcoin as an alternative to money and compares it to cash, fiat money, which devalues every second. Despite not owing a lot of Bitcoin, Dalio stated that cash is trash, a phrase that highlights his critical stance on what many investors see as the safest investment, cash.
That I don't own a lot of it. I view it as an alternative money in an environment where the value of cash, money, is depreciating in real terms. And I think it's very impressive that for last 10, 11 years, that programming has still held up. It hasn't been hacked and so on, and it has an adoption rate. So I'm very big on diversification.
Dalio then explained the role of Bitcoin alongside other classes in a portfolio and how a correct allocation to different assets can reduce overall portfolio risk. However, that programming underlying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that Dalio is so fond of, although it has indeed progressed, it has also consumed more and more energy. Energy right now is a very scarce resource. In May 2022, Columbia University reported that, between 2015 and March of 2021, Bitcoin energy consumption increased almost 62-fold. Bitcoin is thought to consume 707 kilowatt-hours per transaction. That is a lot of energy. Right now, energy prices across the world, especially Europe, have surged to decades high. Decades of bad policy decisions by European countries combined with Russia's weaponization of its oil and natural gas resources have created a perfect storm for European energy markets. The Times magazine reported in a recent article that benchmark electricity prices in Europe have surged almost 300% in 2022, breaking records. Taken together, energy prices are 10 times higher than the 5-year average. Will the energy costs of mining and transacting in Bitcoin push the cryptocurrency's price to further towards zero? Will the sell-off spill to other cryptocurrencies or crypto assets? Charles Munger, Warren Buffett's right hand, thinks that Bitcoin's demise is inevitable.
In my life, I try and avoid things that are stupid and evil and make me look bad in comparison with somebody else. And Bitcoin does all three. and in the first place, it's stupid because it's very likely to go to zero. The second place, it's evil because it undermines the Federal Reserve System and the national currency system, which we desperately need to maintain its integrity and government control and so on. And third, it makes us look foolish compared to the communist leader in China. He was smart enough to ban Bitcoin in China. And with all of our presumed advantages of civilization, we are a lot dumber than the communist leader in China.
Munger's negative attitude towards Bitcoin is not an isolated case. There are plenty of skeptics around who argue that Bitcoin and the broader crypto universe is nothing but a fad, a thing that will prove to be fake and investors will lose millions on it. But more and more fund managers have launched funds to invest in it. Today, there are more than 800 funds that invest in cryptocurrencies, most of which are hedge funds and private equity funds, although the overwhelming majority are very small ventures. These are strong supporters of the asset class and will most likely be bullish no matter the underlying validity of the asset. However, if we are to follow the wisdom of investors like Buffett and Munger with many decades of experience who have been through multiple crises, a bit of skepticism towards the direction of Bitcoin's price is justifiable. As New York Magazine reported, hedge fund mogul John Paulson, who was behind the greatest trade ever, in 2007, he personally made $4 billion on his short of subprime mortgages, thinks cryptocurrencies are a bubble that will prove to be worthless. Michael Burry, the quirky hedge fund manager made famous in The Big Short movie, played by Christian Bale, complains that no one is paying attention to crypto's leverage. Even the Big Short star investors are warning against Bitcoin. Do you agree with these warnings that Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency universe may be heading towards disaster? Or do you think that these fears are overblown? Let us know in the comments below. For more content, like this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for watching.